The Cubs flash it back to the dead ball era, say about 1890 this weekend. We talk about it next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by our great partner at FanDuel, now through September 22nd. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Quick announcement here. We are going to publish the next three episodes at 9 p.m. Central. This is before all three games of Cubs-Dodgers. We're doing this because the Cubs' relevancy right now has not earned the post-game coverage for such a late start, and there are plenty of stories to cover prior to first pitch against baseball's best team. More on that later. Meanwhile, the Cubs lost 2 out of 3 over the weekend of the Yankees. 3-0 loss Friday, 2-0 loss Saturday, and 2-1 win Sunday. Cubs scored 2 runs on 8 hits. That's on the weekend, while the Yankees scored 6 runs on 17 hits. No home runs between either team. Soto and Judge combined to go 3 for 19 with 5 walks. Cubs starting pitching mostly showed up, as did the bullpen. And the Wrigley factor was in play once again, and the Cubs did not take advantage, as it was in the 60s with the wind blowing in basically all 27 innings. Sam, what a weird weekend of baseball.
I want to make a few points, and I want to start with, first of all, I want to say publicly what a great event we had on Saturday.
Great event.
And thanks to everybody for coming out. Great to meet new people and listeners, and everything was fun and exciting but the baseball game. And I want to talk about a few things. I want to make a few points. The first point is this, and please, before you comment and tell me I'm making excuses for them, I promise that I'm not. Just let me get there. I got 3 points to make. Number one, yes, there has been a major ballpark hindrance, if you will, on the Cubs. And if a lot of people have said, oh, well, you got to figure that out. You got to hit home runs anyway. Well, tell that to Judge, Soto, and Stanton this weekend. Stanton hit a ball 110 miles an hour, 25 degrees in the air, should go out 100% of the time. It didn't go out, right? It's harder to hit home runs, and there's some stats to back it up, right? There's a ballpark factor stat on StatCast. This is all, by the way, from Jordan Baston at MLB.com. I got this all from his article after Saturday's game. Last year, Wrigley Field was 9th, meaning it was essentially, for lack of a better term, the 9th best offensive park in baseball. Of course, Chorus is number 1 every year. This year, it's 29th, second to last, okay? The Cubs' OPS at home last year, 772. Cubs OPS at home this year, 674. Almost a full 100-point decrease. Same with their opponents. Now, I think at the end of the year, you have to show a little bit of respect to the hitters and maybe give them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt with their numbers, like a little increase. But you also have to do the same with the pitchers. I don't think the pitchers for the Cubs have probably pitched as well as you think they have, because as the hitters are not benefiting from this, the pitchers are benefiting from it, right? Mm-hmm. So point number one is, yes, it's been a real issue. And even Hoyer admitted this in this article. He said, quote, I think there's some park effect things we need to take into account. Then later on, this is a different quote, said it's probably an October conversation, not now. It's a very complicated thing to try and figure out. So he's acknowledging the ballpark stuff. But here's the point, and here's point number two. When you're playing a team like the Yankees in your home building, a team that's built around hitting home runs, this should play in your advantage. You should be able to get base hits. You should be able to realize, hey, if that Stanton ball doesn't go out, I'm going to try and hit a base hit to right field. I'm going to try and lay down a bunt. We're going to play some hit and run. We're going to do whatever we need to do to find a way to score 3 runs, because guess what? 3 runs was all you needed all weekend. And I know there's people that are going to say, well, Sam, what about the 12-0 game? Well, of course, that was a better day. Wrigley still, on any given day, Wrigley's going to play. But this weekend, the wind was howling in. We knew it. And they didn't really do anything to win, but we weren't able to manufacture runs the first 2 games. And then all it took was a little single from Paredes on Sunday, and that was it. You should be able to, with PCA, Bellinger's good bat-to-ball skills and speed. Nico should have great bat-to-ball skills. You should be able to adjust your approach on a given day.
Can't do it.
Play to the conditions, and the Cubs haven't been able to do that, and it's on brand. And the last point I want to make is just in general with the whole thing, I just think it's a fluke with the weather. I just think it's weather related.
Oh, okay.
I don't think when you look at last year, the year before, the Cubs have always fell in the same spot. I just think that this year, for whatever reason, and it's happening again this week, the weather's going to warm up and we're out of town. So I don't think Jed has to
go figure. Yeah.
I don't think it takes a super overreaction. But when you build a Cubs team, you should go, hey, this guy or this situation is going to be perfect when the wind's blowing in. You know what I mean? And we don't play like that. We just do the same thing every single day, and just, hey, I'm not going to tell a guy to hit the ball here. Just hit it hard. That's what Counsell always says. You got to adjust. Life, sports, about adjustment.
In the Cubs' 6 games this past week against the Pirates and Yankees, they got shut out in half of them. They lost a 2-run game that they should have won. They won a 1-run game that nobody watched today and won 12-0 in the other game. And I would say usually, what a weird week. I said it in the intro, but actually it's not. And you illustrated all the points really well. And in many ways, this has been the Cubs in 2024. Our lead for Monday for Tuesday's show, again, before Cubs-Dodgers, is going to be how confusing the offense has been. And that, that has been the reason ultimately for their down season. But they're not taking their own home field to their own advantage. They make no changes, like you said. It would be one thing not to execute or not to try and then execute small ball, but little to no change in approach, I will always consider a major problem. And I don't care if it's
well said,
freshman in high school or college or the minors or the major freaking leagues. You don't have the same approach every single at bat. It's just not possible. This week, you're not going to see Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman just up there to swing. Doesn't happen. Yeah. You're not going to see those 3 guys on the bases just to run. Doesn't happen. There's a plan. And sure, the other side of the coin is, well, there's too much planning. I maybe, but to not take advantage of their own home field is irresponsible. And I have to think, Sam, or I at least have to wonder what role Craig Counsell plays in this, because I always thought these were Brewers traits to run plays and to have a game plan,
Pat Murphy,
depending on what's happening. But we just haven't seen it basically all year from him.
No, we were wrong on that.
Okay.
We've talked to some people with the Brewers, and we were wrong on that. Might be an October conversation. We were wrong on that.
Right.
I'm glad you brought up Monday night, because that's a really good example of a good offensive day that doesn't look like one with those conditions. Cubs scored 3, probably should have had 4. They could have played some small ball in the late innings of that game to get that leadoff double in. But remember PCA beat out that force out at second base, and then Happ got that big hit. That's all it takes usually on a game like that. But unfortunately, the Cubs pitched a guy that was injured, and so they lost that game. But those are the type of games that you have to play in these type of conditions, and they haven't done it enough. They've gotten shut out at home a lot, and it's the nature of it. It's funny you mentioned Judge on the base pass, because on Saturday he tried to steal third with 2 outs, which is usually a no-no in baseball. But on a day like that, you push the apple cart a bit and led to a run, led to a throwing error, led to a run. But overall, the Cubs got what they wanted. You don't want to play this Yankee team with the wind blowing out at Wrigley Field.
Right.
You know, or it could be trouble. They weren't able to score enough runs. Give credit to Assad on Saturday. I thought Wicks was very fair on Friday. Too many walks, right? And again, you have to grade it both ways. If the ball's not leaving the ballpark, then 5 innings, 3 earned isn't that great of a start. You know, if you're going to have if the offense is going to suffer, then you have to show that with the pitchers as well. I thought Wicks walked too many guys. I thought Assad was really good on Saturday, and Tyone has been a monster at home. He was good Sunday. I thought Happ played some really good defense in left field. I tweeted this out. I think his defense has been better this year than the 2 years he won the Gold Glove, at least last year.
Wow.
So give credit to him. Little concerned about PCA now. It feels like he's a much better outfielder away from Wrigley than he is at home. He has a lot of trouble with the sun in center field, back-to-back days where it looks like Sunday was more of a sun issue. Saturday was more of a drop. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But that's concerning for a guy of his caliber out there. I just think the ballpark thing's interesting. And I just think what's interesting about it isn't that it's just an illustration of the Cubs' lack of ability to adjust to different situations, to find ways to grind out wins, because ultimately that's what it's about. It's not about, swinging for the fences. It's not about OPS plus. It's not about WRC. It's just about finding a way on any given day to win 1-0 or 20-19. Just win.
Well, in the Jed Hoyer, it's about war. What is it good for? Hold on a second.
That's a win. That's a wins above replacement reference, folks. Just want to.
Jed Hoyer, we're going to get to this again Monday for Tuesday, but he said he looks at war more than OPS. So obviously taking account defense. And
now, can I have a rebuttal?
Oh, sure.
I'd like to ask him if he looks at just wins. How many total wins does the team have compared to the other team?
I hope so.
You know what I mean?
It's a bad take.
Just about winning baseball. And I have to remind myself it's just about wins with that Bear game today because, they won, but
the offense, yeah.
Man, if you were to tell me on Friday before 120, if you were to tell me, you'd say, Sam, on Saturday, you're going to have a great event with Matt at Almost Home. It's going to be great. Saturday night, the Illini are going to upset the Jayhawks. Sunday, the Bears are going to win, and then to cap off the weekend, the Cubs are going to win, and yet you're going to show up to the podcast on Sunday night not really happy about any of those performances. I would tell you, that can't be possible. But here we are. And there's a punt.
The Yankees didn't do much. That's the frustrating part.
Well, because it's really hard to do stuff when you're playing through a hurricane of wind.
And they get a lot of flack for their other 7 dudes in the lineup besides Soto and Judge, but these brothers went 3 for 19.
Yeah.
And the Cubs won 1 game.
In game 1, it was a walk to 2. And by the way, I want to say this.
Well, they were responsible for the run scoring Friday.
But I can't stand when the wind's blowing in at Wrigley. It makes for such a non-fun watch. Like literally every game came down to one situation. Friday, Wicks walked Torres.
Exactly.
Wicks walked Torres. Soto single, Judge double, and then Wells got the big hit to make it 3. Saturday, Assad struggled with his command attack in the first, led to a ground ball run, and then the throwing error by Betancourt. And then today, the Cubs took advantage of an error, and then Paredes blooped a single, and those are the 3 games. That's it. There was no other scoring plays essentially.
No, that's right. And
that's not fun. And I hope next year we get some more wind blowing out stuff.
My other 2 notes are the 2 relievers that threw on Sunday. Listen to this, Sam. Last 11 innings for Nate Pearson. Only a run on 4 hits with 2 walks and 12 strikeouts. He hit 100 on 1 pitch on Sunday.
He showed some improvement.
Porter Hodge last 14 innings. Did you see this yet?
No, I didn't.
No runs on 5 hits with 20 strikeouts.
Wait,
has walked 6, but he's complemented that with the other stats.
Well, he might be your closer to start the year next year.
No runs, last 14 innings.
He might close the opener in Japan.
Hope so. Cubs might
So
start 2-0 in those two games.
let's start talking about that.
Well, the goal's 1-1,
The
obviously.
goals 1-1.
Yeah.
Then what do they go to Arizona?
And then they got 7 out west.
Arizona, Oakland.
4 in Arizona, 3 in Oakland.
Whew. Well, at least you don't have to worry about the wind howling in at Wrigley in April.
And
You'll
then
never
an
be
off
there.
day, and then home against San Diego.
Oh boy.
And I hope we can maybe be at almost home for one of those Cubs Padres games for a watch along.
Yeah. Well, I might do
The event Saturday was incredible.
I might do a watch along opening day for my computer at 5 a.m.
Well, for game 1 or 2, I think you should.
You know what I mean?
And then I will join you post game at 8:10 a.m. So. No, it's weird because I'm actually already thinking about those 2 days. I'll take first and second period off. I will wake up right at 5 and go right to the living room. Yeah, I mean, I'm already planning it.
Well, what's funny is we play the Dodgers this week. You get used to them because I think we play them 7 times all in April.
Wow.
Next year.
All right, we're going to go over the Cubs' 9 regulars on offense and do a little concerno-meter.
Sure, that'd be fun.
It was a weird week, and we're going to give you some numbers and kind of see what we're thinking. Stay tuned.
This episode is brought to you by what? FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, I got to tell you, I used it today. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Well, Matt, the Bears open as 6-point dogs in Houston, according to FanDuel next week. Going into today, it was about 3.5, but I think the offense was a little bit scared off some folks in Vegas. What do you think?
Yeah, not a good performance offensively. It was a big surprise in my mind, maybe a little bit because of the hype surrounding Caleb Williams, but no doubt the defense and special teams won that game. Cairo Santos, he's a special kicker, I'd venture to say. Offense was putrid. Like the Cubs splitting with the Dodgers in March, the Bears just splitting these first 2. I think that's the goal.
The more things change, the more they say the same. Bears defense, Bears special team gets it done. Visit FanDuel.com/lockdown to download America's #1 sportsbook.
Cubs play the Dodgers at 9:10 p.m. Central Monday. You can hear every pitch of the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM by searching Cubs on the SXM app. Or if you're like Sam, you might try to get a Joe Davis broadcast in there sometime this week.
Yeah, it's hard, but because I got the MLB, you don't get the Cub games.
That's right. All right, so Swanson, Happ, and Bellinger had nice weeks for the Cubs.
Did they?
And then there was Swanson did. And then there was a steep drop-off. So first of all, Dansby, Sam, went 7 for 21 with 2 homers.
It's a good week.
Happ and Bellinger had 7 and 6 hits, respectively. Happ 7 for 23, Bellinger 6 for 20. And then the concerno meter starts to rise here.
Matt, let me cut you off for 1 minute. I'm a little tired of the Bellinger stuff.
Well, what are you referencing when you say
I'm going to tell you. First of all, you said he had a nice week. I don't really recall much. It's really quiet, okay?
According to batting average, he hit 300. But okay. I don't think his week stood out to me.
I have a public request. Okay. You know when Bellinger hits a home run and we go, there's a belly bomb?
Well, Boog does. I don't.
Well, a lot of people say, hey, how about a belly bomb here?
Well, don't anymore.
He's got 15 homers, and the season's almost over. So if you're going to have
19 games left, right?
If you're going to have a nickname for when you hit a home run, you need to hit at least 30. Go ahead and continue, please.
No, I think that's fair.
Is that fair? Is that a fair gripe?
It is.
Thank you.
Council doesn't think so.
It's a bad take.
So listen to these lines here. Horner 4 for 18.
You want me to do a concerto meter? Or?
Yeah, sure.
No, list them all, and I'll do it. List them all.
PCA 4 for 19 with 75 Ks. Suzuki 3 for 20.
Don't remember any of the hits.
Bush 1 for 17. Paredes 1 for 17. Amaya 0 for 11.
Well, 1 for 17 for Paredes is basically what he's been doing the last 2 months.
And it's no wonder the Cubs got shut out 3 times and scored, 2 runs in another win and 3 in the other.
It's a bad week for PCA, no question about it. So that's a big councilism, by the way. He always says no question about it. Bad week for PCA. A lot of strikeouts. Needs to cut down on those. Ho-hum for Suzuki. He'll probably have a huge weekend this week. It's, it's just a roller coaster with him. Horner, if you watch the show, you know how I feel about his performance this season.
Right. It's more seasonal with him.
Amaya, I would say, is troubling because, 0 for 11 after how good he's been. We all talked ourselves in, well, can Amaya be the guy? Can Amaya, I don't know. He needs to finish the year strong. And he had the big hit on Sunday, so it feels a little bit unjust to get on him.
Well, right.
But the Paredes stuff is...
That'll be one of our leads this week.
Yeah, it's... It's. You know what I don't know what else to say.
So how many games has it been? 40-ish for him in the Cubs uniform?
And then plus
another I'm just 30, saying it's been 35. What, already 40 games?
Yeah, and again, and I'll tell you exactly how many
he's
games
batting what, 150?
Right, and he was just this bad the month before.
Yeah, with the Rays, right.
So, people keep saying, oh, well, it's always hard when you get traded to a new team. No. That's not it. Today was his 35th game.
Okay.
So he's played 136 games this year total. And basically, the first 60 were great. And since then, he's been, unplayable. So,
yeah.
It's a real story.
It is. We'll talk about it this week. And my concern on Bush, I would say, is the 5 range.
Well, I've been there for about a month now.
Wow.
With Bush. Well, I've talked to you about it. I don't know why you said, wow. Yeah. We've spoken vocally about this multiple times.
Right.
I think with Bush, I still think he's a good baseball player, and he will be a good baseball player. I guess because of the start to the year, I had hopes about the ceiling. And I just don't think he's ever going to be a great hitter with his approach. He predetermines his first pitch swings, and he doesn't. Does he have how many opposite field homers does he have this year? I think 1. He doesn't. I just don't think he's going to ever be a guy that could OPS in the 9s and hit 35 plus homers. And that's not like a big thing to say. But, with the way he started the year, you get a young player. You never know, and he just seems like at best he's just another kind of nice offensive guy, right in the realm with Ian and Seiya and Bellinger. And, like I said, Dansby's come along. You have to give somebody credit for doing that. He could have easily just mailed the season in and he hasn't been doing that. But, we all are going to wait at the edge of our seats for what the Cubs do this offseason in terms of, okay, do we need a star? Do we not? Do we have to get rid of some of these guys? Because it's a very complicated team to evaluate.
Absolutely. And we got plenty of time to talk about it. But I do think there's going to be at least one spot on the field, I'll say it now, where you think is locked in, and it becomes unlocked because of moves that they decide to make. So, all right, coming up next, Cubs do begin a 3-game series in LA on Monday, and we're going to preview that next. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors, passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your car alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one car. You always find exactly what you're looking for. With the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. With eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your car alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Cubs begin a 3-game series at the Dodgers at 9:10 Monday. They also play at 9:10 on Tuesday and Wednesday before another Thursday off day. It's going to be Hendricks, Buehler, Imanaga, Yamamoto, and Wicks, Miller. Dodgers have the best roster in baseball, and not coincidentally, the best record at 86-57. Starting pitching for them has been absent or shaky or both most of the year, but the bullpen's been good, defense good, offense excellent. We know about Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman, but Hernandez and Smith might be the best 4 or 5 hitters in the sport for them as well. Sam, thoughts on this series?
Yeah, unfortunately, I know a lot about the Dodgers because of fantasy, and you watch Ohtani because why wouldn't you? Will Smith's actually really struggled, but he's just starting to get it going again. And I believe I'm getting a report for you right now. Teoscar got hurt on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play Monday.
Yeah, but I don't think it's an IL thing.
I saw that. Yeah.
I think he just got hit by a pitch right in the ankle, if I remember correctly, because I was watching it. Pitching wise, you're going to see Buehler and Bobby Miller, who are having very similar seasons. Guys that have tremendous stuff. We've seen Buehler do it at the highest level. Miller, has tremendous stuff, but for whatever reason, they've really struggled for most of the year. Bobby Miller's last start really summarizes it. I think against the Angels, he gave up like 7 earned, but still struck out 9 guys. Like, just very up and down. And then Yamamoto coming off the IL. You and I saw him pitch against the Cubs on a Saturday in April, which is crazy how long ago that was. So I assume they'll be careful with him. But honestly, with the way the Dodgers have pitched, this should be a pretty good weekend for the Cubs to wake up week for the Cubs to wake up the bats. And then, of course, over the weekend, it'll be a hit parade at Coors Field. And
that'll be a weird one.
So, and I'm glad Imanaga gets to pitch against the Dodgers. That'll be fun, and he can miss Coors Field, and that'll be good. It's fun. It's fun to play the Yankees. Fun to play the Dodgers. I would expect to see a lot more runs in this series than you did this weekend, which sure isn't a bold statement to make.
No, it's not. Yamamoto last pitch June 15th.
Yeah,
so it's been a long layoff for him. Bobby Miller was in the minors for some of this year, and then Buehler missed a lot of the year. He's a free agent this winter. Could be a bounce back candidate for someone. All right, so Cubs Dodgers, we're going to be publishing before each of those 3 games. Again, we had a great event on Saturday, almost home in Wrigleyville.
Shout out everybody.
Shout out to everybody that was there. And
it was a great event when Matt stayed. When Matt missed a lot of Iowa football for that event.
Yes, I stayed.
Did they win, by the way? I actually don't know.
Over an hour more than I thought.
Yeah, well, people came to see you.
No comment on the Iowa game as I revert to my I don't think I'm going to watch college football this year attitude. Because, first of all, there's 27 Big Ten teams. Some of these games are at 9:30 Central. The games now, college football games, 3.5 hours, no question.
Oh, they're long.
You got that dude with the red hat that comes on the field.
It's amazing. Everybody gets on us. Baseball, it's so boring. College football, there's a timeout.
A rough watch.
Every 2 seconds, there's a timeout.
It's rough.
Hey,
NFL, not as bad.
Matt, the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, Danny Jones.
They just joined the Big Ten.
Yeah. right.
You know what I mean?
No, it's getting excessive.
No,
shout out to NIU who upset Notre Dame.
I have no idea who's in the Big Ten anymore. I just know that at some point along this year, Illinois is going to go to Oregon, Eugene, at about 11 p.m. on a Saturday, and by the time I go to bed at half, it might be 42-3. All right, let's we'll go to the Dodger game. And hey, listen, PCA bounce back week this week. Let's have a solid.
Right.
Let's go for a 4-2 week. Why not? Maybe steal 2 out of 3 in LA. Like to see Imanaga pitch well and go from there.
Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube as we make the push to 11,000 subs. Smash the like button for the algorithm and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.